Hey, Shad, back with you. It's been a while. I wanted to touch on something that seems to be, I don't know, like you never give it much thought, and you always think it's just your parents ragging you, or that people are just trying to give you advice that they don't know anything about. And I guess, I never heard this growing up. It was never sunk into my head. And it's just been coming up a lot lately. I've got some people in my life that are struggling with it, and I never thought about it growing up. But if everyone can agree on it, right? If everyone that you know tells you that you should be doing it, then probably everyone's right. From poor people to rich people to no matter the background, they'll tell you you need to do it, and that's getting your education. I'm not saying college. You can always go to college later and stuff, but just finishing high school. All right, so this message is more for like people from the age of like 14 to even 21. Firstly, for the younger people, get your education. All right, I grew up as a Gen X kid, and I don't, you're lucky if your kids or your family remember that you were outside all day long, and they had those commercials. It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your kids are? So we didn't. A lot of us, especially if we grew up in broken homes or single family homes, we didn't have a lot of direction and a lot of people pushing us to strive for better things in our lives. And they always ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, who cares what you want to be when you grow up? The real question is do you want to work at McDonald's for your whole life? Or move furniture or something really hard on your body, or just not making a lot of money. So I think it's really about small steps. And, you're hearing it more now. Hey, go to school, get your high school diploma, at minimum get your GED, but try to get your high school diploma. And these kids are just dropping out left and right, which is crazy. It's 2025 and almost 2026, and kids are just still dropping out of school saying it's just too hard. Things are going to be a lot harder if you don't get a good education, at least a high school. Most places won't even hire you without a high school education. So, talking to some of these kids the other day, and of course their parents are like, you need to get your high school diploma. If you don't go to college, that's fine, but you need to get a high school diploma. And everyone's telling them that. I mean, you've got people from the ghetto and low income housings and all kinds, and like every walks of life, rich people. You need to get your education. That's the first thing that needs to be done when you're a teen, is focus on just that. Don't focus on your future, making money, all that stuff. Focus on getting your high school diploma. If everyone's telling you to do it, everyone's got to be right. All right, not everybody can be wrong. So let's push to that. All right, push to just focusing on graduating high school. That should be your only main concern until you're 18. Later, you're going to also realize that everything that you think is important isn't. You care about your clothes, and your shoes, and how people see you and view you, and if people think you're tough or not, or you can handle yourself, and how many girls or guys you can get, or how cute you look, or how handsome you know what I mean? Like, you worry about those things, you're peacocking, and those things aren't going to matter in 30 years. Everything that you think is important in your life right now that is materialistic is not going to matter in 30 years. And I think when you talk to really old people, right? Some are just crazy and they're like, get religion and get Jesus. And I don't think that's going to set someone in the direction they need to go. I think people need to sit down and talk to people and just work it out with them little by little. You talk to older people and they I mean, the smart ones, it's like they keep quiet. Like they don't even tell you. You're like, well, what should I do? And they're like, you're going to have to figure it out, because you can tell. I can sit here and tell you guys to get an education until I'm blue in the face, but in the end, it's you that's going to have to make that decision. Just like an alcoholic's not going to quit drinking until they're ready, a drug addict's not going to stop being a drug addict until they're ready. So you're just going to have to learn to live it, but hopefully you don't learn that the hard way. There are a lot of us out there that did really bad or didn't think about our future and prepare ourselves, and are suffering for it now. I guarantee when I was 20 years old, I didn't think about being 50. And now that I'm 50 and I have more years behind me than I do in front of me, your whole attitude and way of thinking and your thought process changes. It should change. If it doesn't, then probably special needs or something anyway. But just know that everything that you think is important right now is going to change. I mean, if you're 15 years old right now, even 18, think about what you were thinking about 10 years ago, right? Probably cartoons and toys and, candy bars. Well, it keeps changing as you get older. In 10 more years, when you're 24 or, 30, it's going to change. Everything that you think is important right now is going to change. All your friends right now are going to go away. If you're in high school, you might see them in college. Maybe not. You might keep in contact with them in college. Maybe not. But that's usually when things start forking off. After high school, people kind of start breaking away. Do I still have some high school friends? Yeah. Do I see them all the time? No. I hardly ever see them at all. I talk to them on the phone occasionally, but we all have families now. So you're going to start seeing these forks as you get older. It's going to go high, your elementary school and middle school friends, and then that's going to become your high school friends, and maybe you got the same people. But then if you go to college, you're going to have college friends. Or if you don't go to college, you might fork off and start hanging out with other people that are, more like you and enjoy the same things as you. People grow. I mean, you got to remember that. You're not always going to be into cartoons and Scooby-Doo and whatever the popular cartoon is now, or Dragon Hunter, or whatever the heck it is. You know what I mean? You're not going to be into that stuff as you get older. Your taste in music's going to change. Your taste in food, your taste in clothing and style, all those things are going to change. So you fork out. You find other people that you click with, or that you enjoy the same, things with. And then you meet somebody, right? And then you grow together, and hopefully you find someone that's just like you, and you guys tend to grow the same way and still enjoy the same things as you get older, and you like being around each other, which is huge. It's a huge part of being with someone. Of course, looks and being attracted sexually to the person is a part of it, but you're not gonna be sexually active and be as crazy as you are forever. And in 20 years, that's gonna change. You can get a Lamborghini, and once you've had it for 10, 15 years, it's still cool, but it's not as cool as it was, right? That's with anything. So it's all about really just enjoying your life, the small steps of your life. You don't have to think way, way ahead for your future. I mean, some people have that ability, and some people are able to fulfill that. Some people have parents that are wealthy and can get them into job opportunities that most of us wouldn't be able to have. But if you're struggling right now, or you don't come from the best of homes, take small steps. Focus on getting your high school diploma. Then next, decide if you want to go to college. The career path that you think you want to try out, try a few things first. Here's the other great thing. Work a few different jobs. If you don't like them, quit. Don't put those jobs down on your next application. No one needs to know. If you didn't work there for at least 2 years or a year, don't put it on your application. No one needs to know about that job that you didn't like. Then start focus on work. Try to find a job that you like, a career field that you don't mind doing, something you're good at, something that doesn't really feel like work, but it is. I mean, we all want to be content creators or pro athletes, but the chances of that happening are slim and none. And we all want to make a quick buck, be hustlers, buy things from Temu, mark it up 5 times and sell it to somebody else. But that's not always the case. So you got to take things slowly. Take it step by step. Don't screw yourself. Don't go out and say, you only live once. I'm 15. I'm going to drop out of school. I'm going to smoke weed and drink and do drugs and whatever. I'm probably not going to be alive when I'm 21 anyway. Look at me. I'm 50. I thought the same thing. We, on the other hand, have been very fortunate. I did drop out. I dropped out at 10th grade. And I went back 20 years later and got my GED. Then I went to college. I mean, you can always change those things, but it's just harder. It makes it harder on you. It makes it harder in your life. But I'm just telling you, everything that you care about right now or you think is cool isn't. It's been done. Everything that you think is new and that you are creating has already been done. Flashing money, been done. Flashing cars, been done. Flashing weapons, been done. Flashing drugs, been done. You're not doing anything new. You're not special. You're not creating any kind of new content or being original in any type of way. So you're just peacocking. That tells you right there that you're only worried about what other people think. When you're flashing money or when you're showing off shoes or outfits, you only care what other people think. That just shows you how low your self-esteem is. And that will change as you get older. When you get older, you don't care what people think of you. You don't care if people snicker because you wear an old hoodie, or an old beanie that doesn't have a Nike logo on it, or the type of shoes you wear. Because you'll one day realize that those people aren't paying any of your bills. The people that you're trying to impress have absolutely no meaning in your life. The guy walking down the street that you were trying to flex to, he's not buying you toilet paper. He's not buying you hygiene products and paying your rent or your utilities. So stop trying to worry about impressing everybody. That girl that you're trying to get is going to find out sooner or later that you're kind of being a loser by blowing all your money and not saving it, or not going to school because you're too busy getting in trouble, acting like a thug, because you think you're being original. It is harder to be good and do good things than it is to act bad and do bad things. Okay, let me say that again. It is harder to be good and do good things than it is to be bad and do bad things. It's hard to go to school and get your education and try to get a grant or a scholarship. That's hard. It's easy to wear a shiesty or a ski mask, you know what I mean, and act like a thug and dress like a thug and walk around and like threaten people or pull guns or act tough. That's easy. Acting like a punk thug is easy, bro. Working your ass off is hard. So I know most people probably haven't made it this far through the video, but I just wanted other people to know, when your parents are on your ass about going to school or trying to motivate you to be a better person, they're doing it because they love you. and they don't want you to struggle, and they don't want to see you go through any hardships. The worst thing that we can do as parents is see our kids struggle and go through things that could have been avoided. So we try to instill all these positive things into them and try to tell them when they're doing wrong, or we think they're doing wrong. And sometimes kids just take that the wrong way, and maybe it's brought out the wrong way. Maybe the parent isn't saying it the way that they should say it. But we're not perfect, you know? Parents aren't perfect. Just because we're older doesn't mean we're all knowing. And I know kids are like, yeah, you guys don't know nothing. Well, we're here. And we're paying our bills. And we have cars that are paid for and homes that are paid for or paying on. You know, there's food. You know, and this isn't with every parent, unfortunately, and that sucks for those kids. Those kids don't even have a good starting chance out the gate. But when you have loving parents who keeps your belly full, keeps clothes on your back, keeps the electricity on, you have no clue what that takes and how much discipline it takes to do those things until you do it. We, as adults, have been in you younger people's shoes. You young people have not filled an adult's shoes yet. Most of you anyway. Some of you, yeah, you might have been working since you were 16 and out on your own and done everything yourself, and congrats on that. But for most kids, they don't know how hard it is. They don't know how hard it's going to be. So listen to your parents. They're only doing it because they love you. And take one step at a time. If you cannot graduate high school, you are not going to make it in this world, because you will not be able to hold down a job if you can't even go to school. Stop worrying about what other people say. If it's between paying your rent bill and buying new clothes, pay your damn rent. You don't need to impress everyone else. Don't buy a car because it's cool and you like the way it looks, but you can't afford it. Buy something you can afford, or save up. That's the better thing to do. Don't just go out and get a job and then get in debt. Don't flash money. Don't flash drugs. Don't be so consumed with what people think, because in the end, those people don't matter. And in 20 years, you'll forget all about them. Even your best friends that you'll have matching tattoos with, they'll go away and you'll have your own things to do. The moment that you're living right now is what you think the world is going to be like, and that's just not true. Everything is always changing. Everything is always different. And you being in your teens or 20s right now, think about when you were 5 or 10. All right? And that's how much it's going to change when you're 30, 40, 50. Every 5 to 10 years, things are going to change. So, hope this helps. If you have any questions or concerns, give me a holler. See y'all later. Chap out.